Hello there. What's going on, everyone? Today I'm going to be talking to you about why I hate the Starhawk. Now, I recognize that hate is a strong word, and it's kind of just a phrasing word because I'll be honest with you, I'm not really convinced, and I haven't had a whole lot of time with this ship to really make that super informed decision. But right now, not a big fan, so I want to talk about the Starhawk a little bit. Also, there's still time left to enter to win the giveaway for the $25 Amazon gift card. All you have to do is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this or one of my videos. That giveaway should be announced Friday, and then another one starting right afterwards. So if you don't win that one, there's plenty more times to win. So, yeah, the Starhawk, brand new ship for Wave 8. And, you know, the Rebels finally got a new ship, but so did the Empire. The Empire got another new ship. And boy, doesn't the Onager seem so much better than the Starhawk. Is that really why I don't like it? Maybe is it because the Empire got such a better ship? Well, I'm not really going to talk about the Onager right now because I love the Onager, and maybe that's just contrasted things a little bit. But I was so excited about the Starhawk, and then I finally, got it in hand. And okay, let's be honest, guys. This thing is gorgeous. It's a gorgeous ship. It's beautiful. It's huge. Its table presence is magnificent. But then when it comes to put lists together, everything I put together is just so underwhelming. So I want to talk to you about some things that I thought, well, maybe I'll use it for this purpose and not. So first, let's look at the ship, right? We got two versions. We got a 150-point version. We got a 140-point version. They're both very, very similar. The main difference is your anti-squadron battery is blue and black versus on the cheaper, and red and blue on the more expensive. So that's kind of something new that makes it unique. Also, it's got 14 hull. That's kind of something new that makes it unique. It's got 6 shields in the front. It's kind of like Super Star Destroyer levels of shields. And that's kind of something that makes it unique. And those are kind of cool things, but they're not anything that's like breaking the bank here. It's got a super weapon slot. Now that's kind of something new, except its super weapon is awful, and I'll talk more about that a little bit later. And it's got it's got some upgrades. Nothing completely earth-shattering about the upgrades, but it does have 2 officer slots, which is kind of something new. Except we've seen that before as well. So I feel like this ship does a lot of things pretty good, but nothing great. And I think a lot of people are looking at it in the context of, well, look at all the upgrades it comes with. Now, I think, I'm going to go on the record and say the Starhawk is still a good purchase because of everything that comes in the pack. You got a lot of great Tier 1 upgrades in this pack. But, and here's the key but, you can use all those upgrades with other ships. I don't think you really need to. It's like $80 for a bunch of cardboard, basically. I mean, and a great desktop ornament, right? Just don't bring this into your games is kind of where I'm at right now. Now, before I get into too many of these negatives and things that I don't like about it, because that's kind of the gist of it, I do want to preface this with maybe time will tell. Maybe practice and an evolving meta will kind of change my perception of the Starhawk. And I'm curious how many of you maybe feel the same way. What are your initial reactions? Like, was your hype here and then it went down to here and you're hoping it kind of comes back up and meets it halfway? Because that's kind of where I am at right now. So, defensive tokens are important because we're going to talk about its tankiness ability. Because I think that's the first thing people see when they look at this ship. Like, whoa, it's a chonker! 4 command, whoa! It's look at 6 shields, 14 hull, whoa, dude, radical! Because that's my new catchphrase now, right? Radical. Yeah. Anyway. But no, it's not radical though, because it doesn't have defensive retrofit. And I think that's a really important distinction to make, because I'm going to talk about this thing's defensive capabilities and compare it to some other Rebel ships' defensive capabilities. And let's preface this with, I'm not going to include a gate as the commander on board this ship, because obviously, she'll help out this ship, but she'll be, a gate on a Starhawk is certainly a threat. But so is a gate on other ships. So we've got to just look at the ship by itself, because the ship is not attached to that commander. Anybody can have a gate. You can put a gate on a MC-30. You can put a gate on a CR-90. So, she's not attached to this ship. She comes with this ship, so she's a cool commander. I like her. But you don't have to have her on this ship. So, first off, without a gate, let's just say you were using any other commander, or maybe this wasn't even your flagship. You've only got one brace. Okay, so all of a sudden you're instantly vulnerable to that single accuracy, which is always going to be there when you need it, right? You've only got one brace, so that makes it rough. Now, you do have a redirect, but again, only one redirect, too. With all those shields, if you get shot in the side and you want to start putting some stuff up to the front, well, that one, or maybe two accuracies completely shuts you down, okay? That's kind of rough. You've got a contain. Okay, contain's all right. I'm okay with it having one contain. A lot of times it's not like super crucial that you use contain unless you're using damage control officer, which maybe that's a good option here. But, I think the biggest thing with the defensive retrofits is, okay, it's got salvo. That's cool. It's got salvo baked in. I dig it. I like that. But, a lot of other ships can get salvo now too. And while salvo is cool, it's not something that's exclusive to this ship. This is just the only ship that has it natively. You can get salvo lots of other ways on lots of other ships. Anybody who has the weapons team can take that to get a salvo, or you can put a gate on any other ship to get a salvo. So, granted, this one has it baked in, so that's kind of cool, but that's not really its defensive ability. That's kind of just like an extra trick. And I do like salvo as a keyword, and I do kind of like that it's on here. But I don't think that's enough. I think this ship does a lot of little things, but at an extreme cost, right? Because it's 150 points or 140 points, depending on which version. So, and they both have the same perks. Okay, so all right, we've got only one brace, only one redirect. We also have no defensive retrofit. So, dude, MC-80 Home 1 style, okay, assault cruiser. Or even heck, even the command cruiser. The command cruiser has a defensive retrofit. Assault cruiser has freaking 2 defensive retrofits. 2 of them. Okay, guys. Look, and by the way, 2 redirects. Okay, it doesn't have salvo. I get that. But if you put a gate on here, then it would have salvo. So what I'm saying is there's ways around that. Still got the 2 red in the rear too. So, look, MC-80. In my opinion, I think MC-80's assault cruiser is the superior tank. If you're looking for a tank, if you're looking for this ship to be like your tank, I think it comes in maybe 3rd place. MC-75 also super tanky, lots of shields, lots of hull, also has defensive retrofit. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm just less impressed. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with that. But let's talk about other things. It's got titles, right? And so the titles can help its tankiness, right? They're kind of restrictive. If you want to run the Mark II, you can only run Unity. But let's take a look at the Mark I, right? So maybe we want Amity. That's going to give us long range defense. Oh, okay, that's you're getting an extra evade, but you're getting an extra token. So I guess maybe the titles are good because you're getting a 5th, natural that you don't have to lose anything else to get it. It's just taking up your title. It's more points, so now you're increasing the cost even more. But Amity's kind of cool. You can put 2 more damage, but it also hurts you. But I like having the choice for that. But you get an evade, which is, it's the defense against the onager. But you're a slow ship. That's okay. The Concorde is nice. You get an extra salvo. And it's giving you the speed 0 defense. That's going to come into play later when we talk about the super weapon, the tractor beam, or that that. But and then the Unity, which can go on either one, that gives you that one probably best for defensive purposes because that's you could use a separate redirect. All those shields you're probably going to be redirecting a lot, at least at the beginning of the game, when you're starting to get shot. But this one's ability isn't defensive, like the Concorde actually has a defensive ability, but I really don't like the idea of having to actually use that as much. But the Unity gives you the better token, but it gives you more of an offensive kind of boon with going against squadrons, and then you're spending your attacks not against ships but against squadrons, which it's cool. I do enjoy some anti-squadron shenanigans, trying to blast squadrons and take them off the board with your red and blue dice or double red if you got that, but that's not that great. I feel like there's other ships that do that better. So I'm gonna transition talking about offensive stuff now. Okay, and let's start with talking about offensive anti-squadron. Hey, we got a red anti-squadron die. Like that was something that was new. I'm like, all right, we finally got a rebel ship with red anti-squadron. That's cool. Except, well, Nebulons now do it way better. Put a Nebulon on here, and let's give it the new upgrade heavy fire zone. Well, now we got 2 red for a ship that's 57 points. Well, 61 points. Totally beat, right? Totally so much better. That's really part of my issue. You know, Nebulon with heavy fire zone now has 2 red. You know, now it's conditional. Of course, it is conditional because we have to have them not engaged. So if you're not running squadrons, then sure. Or if you're just holding your squadrons back, then sure. But if you're sending the squadrons pretty far forward, okay, that's not maybe the best. Okay, all right. So there's a circumstance, right? So maybe the Starhawk is you know, the 150 point version, the Mark II, is good if we want to send our squadrons really far forward, engage enemy squadrons right away, and also run ruthless strategists. I mean, I guess maybe that's, you know, the rebels have now an option for ruthless strategists at long range. Is that it? I don't know. So like, you know, it's got little niche things, but not, you know, nothing to justify that cost, especially when the Empire can do that for like 50 points, you know, with the Quasar. And the Quasar does it better too. You know, so like it's not that great. All right, so that's offensive anti-squadron. Well, let's look at well, all right, let's look at its battery, because it's got a strong front arc, right? Look at that front arc. You got, you know, 4 red, 3 blue, and a black. Or here we got 4 red, 2 blue, and 2 black. Okay, so I'll look at the more expensive variant, right? You know, so we got, like, because the Mark I's only got 2 red on the sides. You know, like that's kind of, you know, for 140 points, it's not very strong. So its front arc is decent. So I don't know if that's worth 140 points. Let's look at the 150 point version. All right, we got 3 red on the sides, at least on that one. We got 4 red in the front and 3 blue. And then if we're able to get in close, which will be hard because we're really slow, well, then we've got 1 black if we happen to get that close. Now, we don't have anything to help us with black. We don't have ordnance. Just 1 single black in the front. I'm like, I mean, I guess that's cool, especially if you want to concentrate fire. Cool. But yeah, so okay, that's pretty good. But, and I'm kind of rambling here because I'm just like that's kind of how I feel. Let's look at the Liberty, right? MC-80 battle cruiser. Hey, the MC-80 battle cruiser is pretty awesome, isn't it? Well, guess what? It's got, like, doesn't it have a lot of the same stuff? I feel like maybe it does. It's got 2 turbo laser upgrades, and it's only 103 points. And that front arc is better, in my opinion, better than the Mark IIs. Obviously, we lose the 1 black die if we happen to get up to close range. That's fair. I get that. We lose 1 black die. This isn't a ship you probably don't really want to get up to, you know, close range. And but even if we do, well, hey, we've got 2 braces, so we're a lot better equipped to deal with that big giant shot that's going to come after us, that black die shot in return. But we've got 2 turbo laser options, and also the ion cannon option. And we got, you know, like this ship's just so much better for that, because, and it's 50 points cheaper. Just, you know, like, I feel like this does, if you want that big front arc shot, because, hey, if you're trying to focus on a front arc shot, well, then gunnery teams. Now I get two, like, I mean, take your best arc, fire twice out of that arc. The Starhawk can take gunnery teams also, but then what's the point of it? Then you're wasting all the other arcs, right? I'm like, oh, I spent all these extra points on a almost as good side arc too, but no, because the Starhawk doesn't want to use gunnery team. The Starhawk has good stuff all around, so it kind of wants to be able to just, you know, front and side. It wants to be able to double arc you, and it can double arc you, but why double arc? You know, why not just have gunnery teams and get 2, you know, kill 2 ships? You know, I mean, I don't know. I like MC80 is just so much better. You can get so much more dice. You can get so much higher damage potential at long and medium range out of this thing. And the upgrades are better suited for it. They just are better suited for it. All right. You know, the Starhawk's advantage here is like, oh, well, it's got 2 officers, except there's not a whole lot of officers that really deal with complementing like a long-range red die attack or even blue die attack. Like, it's just not like Torrent Far maybe on a different ship, but not on the own ship. So, like, even though it's got a lot of dice, I feel like there's other ships that have better dice. But all right, but okay, I did say double arcs are good here. Okay, so I get it. Double arcs, you can get more damage. Oh, except it's not the best at double arcing either. Look at freaking MC75, right? So much more damage potential out of this. So much more. If I can get up to you, well, we want to get to close range? No problem. And you know what? Oh, we only have 1 brace here, so maybe we can't take that return fire as well. Oh, wait, we can because we've got defensive retrofit. And we've got better upgrades for this. Look at, we got 2 ordnance on this thing, right? MC75, so much better. So, like, I guess in any category, in any role that I kind of want to build the Starhawk, I'm like, oh, well, let me make it be that I'm going to come in close and slow. You can't get away from me. I'm going to get right up on you and just hit you with all of my dice. Or oh, I want this to be the flagship that can't be killed. Or I want this to, well, I was going to say I want it to be a maneuverable ship, but it definitely can't do that. By the way, all these other ships, every other ship that does something better than the Starhawk does is also more maneuverable. Even the MC80 Home 1 is more maneuverable. Look, it's still got the same yaw and only speed 2, but it can take engine techs, which is huge, and is much cheaper. Even with engine techs, much cheaper. And so that's my thing. Any big ship type role that I would want it to do, one of the other Rebel big ships does better. So that's really it. So that's a thing. Well, what about a carrier? Okay, like what about being a carrier? Okay, because hey, look, 2 officers. That's one of the things you can do, right? Well, we've seen 2 officers already on Phoenix Home, right? And for this case, let's say we'd go with a Pelta command ship, right? Because it's got 3 Squadron. We can put Phoenix Home on there. We can get 2 officers on that, which is cool. Phoenix Home can get 2 officers for 63 points as opposed to 150. And still hits 3 squadrons. Like, the Starhawk doesn't even hit 4 squadrons, so it's not even that good of a carrier. Now, it does have some upgrades that will allow it to function as a moderate carrier, and maybe that's what the Starhawk is supposed to be. Maybe it's supposed to be a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And that sounds fine, but not at that price point, right? Not at 150 points when you don't have anything left. All you can have left is a couple of flotillas, after you put upgrades on this thing. I mean, you could put, and I guess that's one of the things. Like, one of the hallmarks of this ship is the 2 officer slots, but most of the officers are either defensive, which if you want this ship to be defensive, you're going to put Kirsta Agate on it, and then you're probably good, but then again, you can do that for any other ship. Maybe you don't want it to be your flagship, and, I don't know, but a lot of these people are defensive that you put on more fragile ships, like Lando. Like, Lando on a Starhawk seems kind of like overkill, I don't know. Or Durlin, right? Like, if I wanted to build a defensive one, I could put Lando and Major Durlin on there, right? But that's not helping me with now squadrons. That's just defensive stuff. And maybe that's an option. Maybe that's something that will evolve. I don't know. I that feels like ultra overkill. Because then, if I'm an opponent, I see somebody with a Starhawk with Lando and Major Durlin on the Starhawk, I'm just not even going to waste my time. I'm not going to attack it at all. I'm going to come 100% towards something else and then fly away and then win like a 7-4. Something like that. So maybe for squadrons. Maybe for squadrons, right? We could put Adar Talon on there. The really good one, especially on a slower ship, Flight Commander. My squadrons are going to outpace my slow ship. I need to get back in range. Okay, Flight Commander. Now I'm in range. You know what? That's cool. I like Flight Commander. Flight Commander and Adar Talon are good options on there. I don't know. Strategic Officer. Yeah. No. So I mean, maybe it functions a little bit as a carrier. But there's so many better ships that can do like the same thing. The Pelta can do a lot of carrier stuff. How about other ships that are much better carriers, like the Nebulon B Yavaris. Such a better carrier. Right? So much cheaper. Like really, really so much cheaper. Even, honestly, flotillas are really good carriers. You're going to get one more out of the Starhawk, but at 10 times the price. So I'm just not I'm not sold on it as a carrier either. So like there's not any one kind of role I want to build it for. So I talked about how other ships have better offense. I've talked about how other ships have better utility, and other ships are more tanky because the lack of defensive retrofit is huge here. Okay, so we got to talk about the other thing that makes the Starhawk unique, because it's got a couple of things that make it unique, and they're kind of cool, or at least kind of unique, and that's the super weapon option, the Magnite Crystal Tractor Beam Array. So we've got the Magnite Crystal Tractor Beam Array. That makes the Starhawk unique. Absolutely. Problem is, the whole point, on the surface, the whole point of this card seems to be that you slow down to speed 0, and then at the end of your activation, you exhaust this card, you turn an enemy ship to speed 0. Now they can't spend defense tokens. If you've got more activations, then they can shoot that ship while it's at speed 0. But in order to do that, it turns out to be really, really hard. First off, you have to have other ships that are shooty, and you have to have stalled really, really well. Like, you need to have probably 2 flotillas, maybe a couple of TRC-90As in the waiting, and then hope that, your first player, and so, that you out-activate them. Like if that'll work great against maybe a 3-ship build, maybe you do it, and you probably have to wait for them to have gone. Maybe you already blew up like one of their flotillas. Now they've only got 2 ships left. You move a flotilla, then you move another flotilla. Now they're done. They moved their other ship. Now you slow them down to speed 0, and then both CR90s get to go trigger TRC, and then get like 3 damage through at long range. And they can't do anything about it. Okay, that's still a negative play experience. That's the problem. Like, messing with people's speed, people don't like that, especially at speed 0, because that really restricts your ability to play the game. I've had really, really feels bad scenarios where I was at speed 1 and I get the crit that says, yo, your opponent may reduce your speed by 1. And now all of a sudden you're at speed 0 and you didn't even know that was coming, and you didn't have a nav command planned for next turn. So now you're stuck speed 0 for maybe the rest of the game. I've had that happen before. It's a feels bad scenario. And in that case, and so the other person didn't do it deliberately. So you're just like, well, that was bad luck. And that's always something you have to think about when you're going to speed 1. Do you have a nav token, or do you have some other way to, pick yourself back up? But to do this, you kind of have to also, it really helps if you're first player. Because, like, the ideal scenario is that, all right, you slow down to speed 0, make yourself vulnerable, and that's, of course, where you would use the other title, Concord. You'd use the Concord title there, because this one does let you spend a single defense token while you are at speed 0. So then, you can, but of course, it allows you to, but you're still vulnerable to accuracies there, too. So it's like you still might not be able to brace. Somebody's attacking you, they're still going to spend an accuracy and stop that brace if they can. But then, you go first next turn, shoot the enemy ship at speed 0, and then, hopefully have a nav till you can speed back up. And I mean, like, that's the thing, but there's a whole lot of setup that goes into trying to do that. First of all, your opponent's, you're kind of broadcasting your intention when you have something like that. Your opponent's going to know, if I get into range 5 of him, he's going to do that. Like, in one of my earlier battle reports, I had a feeling that was going to happen, so I slowed down to speed 0 while we were still out of range. So this way, my opponent couldn't do that to me. There's ways to kind of beat that. I'll just stop at speed 0 all the way here. I'm going to make you come to me, so you won't have time to do it. Well, the other way to maybe do that is with somebody like Bail Organa, and that's I think that's one of the things a lot of people are looking at right now is, well, let's run Bail Organa to guarantee that we can go first on like a certain turn. Again, then you're broadcasting when I know exactly when you're going to do it now. And if that's the case, maybe I just slow down to speed 0 and, wait like 3 turns before I speed up. And now all of a sudden you're not going to be able to get to me. I don't know. again, that's just not good for the health of the game, because then we're not playing the game. Then the game goes by in like 20 minutes. We're on turn 6 and no shots are fired, and I've had games like that before too, where like no dice were rolled the whole game because we started out in opposite corners. People were afraid to engage. Then second player wins because it's a tie with a 6-5 0-point margin of victory, and that person's probably not going to do too well the rest of the day because that's not a strong enough win and not enough of a tiebreaker for our MOV or anything like that. So and it's just not fun. Like, the game is supposed to be enjoyable, and I just don't like that very much. Same reason I don't like a lot of people don't like Constantine, trying to mess with people's speeds and trying to but in this one can be even worse because you're slowing people down to 0. So, and that just takes your ability to play the game away. So I don't know. So what's the possible uses for this ship? Jack of all trades, maybe jack of all trades, but what else are you gonna? I feel like it's good just for thematics. Like, if you just want a beautiful ship on the board, that's a great option for it. Or maybe if more super weapons come out in the future, or maybe different officer synergies. I feel like this ship is just built to be something that shines in the future as opposed to right now. Officers that work together, and that's the thing. I really think if this ship were available for the Empire, it'd be a totally different ball game. And I'm going to elaborate a little bit on some of the strats that I would use if I could use this ship for the Empire. But the Empire has more officers that are going to work better with a ship that wants to be offensive minded, like Krennic, for example. Taskmaster Grint, which is actually multi-purpose, but you could use him offensively if you wanted to do concentrate fire and get rerolls every turn. Things like that. There's a lot of things you could do in that regards to just make this more of an offensive, beast. And also, extra officers are good fuel for Officer Vader for the Empire. I just feel like this should have been an Imperial ship, right? Of course, for balance's sake, the Empire already has a Super Star Destroyer, but this would have been like that cheaper version of the Super Star Destroyer. Also, it would have been not subject to the half points rule. So if you get 11 damage on this card, well, your opponent still gets no points, right? Maybe part of the strategy for this is using the Magnite Crystal Tractor Beam Array, but not using it for speed 0, because maybe that's part of the strategy. Maybe it's to just control people's speed, to control really fast ships, to shut down that MC-30 that wants to get into close range of you. And maybe you just fly at speed 1. Maybe you just fly at speed 1 and you're just using this to make sure everybody stays at speed 1 and has to do the slow approach. So this way your red dice ships get to stay at red dice range. Maybe you're going to have a firing line of... hold on, let me close this out. Maybe you're going to have a firing line of a bunch of Hammerhead Scout Corvettes, and they're going to run gunnery teams, and they're going to run disposable capacitors, and they're going to run turbolaser reroute circuits, or linked turbolaser towers would be a good one for them, right? And they're going to do something like that, and you want them to to just have that really awesome firing line that somebody can't close with them and just hit them with a whole bunch of dice in return. I mean, that's a cool option. Maybe you want to do that. Maybe you want to run a couple of TRC 90As. Granted, you're not going to be able to have a big firing line because the ship's crazy wicked expensive. So another option, maybe you want to run the Starhawk as fast as you can at speed 2. And maybe you want to make sure that the Magnite Crystal Tractor Beam Array stays at speed 2. Right? All right, hear me out now. Hear me out. Let's say you're running some cheap firing line ships and you want them all to run the quad battery turrets. Right? Quad battery turrets is not a guarantee. All right? They have to be going faster than you. Well, maybe you set all your small ships to speed 1, and now the Starhawk can start manually setting, enemy flagship, you must be at speed 2. Boom. And then all of a sudden, all the hammerheads get to roll an extra blue die. All right, that's 160 points for a gimmick, to make sure that somebody goes fast. I don't know if it's really worth it, but maybe it'll work like that. But here's a time where I would love that for the Empire because of Architens and the way that they fly, how that the rebels kind of their long range firing line ships kind of march directly at you, with the exception of like I think the rebels could use assault frigates maybe, but they're more expensive and you can't fit as many of them into a build, especially with the Starhawk. But like for the Empire, I could run Architans that way, just circular strafe around. The only way to really kill the Architans is to catch up to them, either get in front or behind, or just close the distance, because Architans are really, really strong if you can keep your opponents at long range. Well, here's a ship that could maybe help you do that, at least one at a time. But keep that Gladiator Demolisher maybe at speed 1, so it can't, again, it's going to nav and it's going to use engine text though. So, like it's still going to go kind of fast. So I don't know. I feel like there's just not enough to really make this, I'm just not seeing it, I guess is the key. I'm just not seeing the way. Oh, and there's another thing that would be amazing is for the Empire, there's the Inquisitor. I'm going to go backward. Let's open up Inquisitor and let's just say I had, well, no, we're not going to put it on here because this is like, I get so frustrated because I look at this and I see things I want to try. But if we could, like the Grand Inquisitor, right? When an enemy ship at distance 1 through 5 changes its speed, you may exhaust this card, increase or decrease your speed, right? Like, could you imagine that with the Magnite Crystal? Basically, I changed your speed, which to match mine at speed 0. But as soon as that happens, now I'm changing mine back up to speed 1. Like, some kind of card like that would work on the Starhawk would be like insane, right? Again, it'd be more of a negative play experience, but it would be more of a mechanic that might be worth 160 points, right? Might be worth it. I don't know. Like, I can't find a way to build these things that makes sense that some other ship hasn't already done better. So I think the way to do it, if you're going to run Starhawks, is just run them naked. Just naked. Put nothing on them. You know what? You got a lot of hull to chew through. They can do a little bit, a lot of stuff. All right, fine. You know what? No problem. Go naked. I'm going to put, I'll put my commander on a TRC. I'll put, who's cheap? I mean, I could put, Riken would be weird on that. No, that wouldn't work. Let's put Dodonna on there, right? Put Dodonna on. No, actually, in case you catch up to me, we'll put a gate on there. No problem. We'll put a gate on there and then fill it out with some squadrons. And if the Starhawks get some, put some Z95s and maybe an X-Wing or 2 in there. And then you're just going to have to chew through them. And good luck trying to kill them. Maybe Leia as a commander. Just have the Starhawks do engineering every turn. I don't know. I just don't know. There's nothing that really excites me about wanting to play these guys. Anyway, I've been rambling a lot. I just wanted to talk about the Starhawks and kind of why I don't like them. I think I covered a lot of the bases. There's some things that they seem like they have potential for, but there's no like really unique combination of upgrade slots here. There's not that many Rebel ships that have offensive retrofit. But it's not so much that I would say it was rare. If you want to put Flag Bridge on here, okay, that's something you can do, but it's not the only ship that can do that. It's got weapons team, which is cool. It doesn't need weapons team, so or you don't need it for gunnery team. I mean, that's a good option for Caitkin and Sholin, but so is an MC-75, much cheaper. That's really where it comes down to. Everything that this ship can do, another ship can do better, with the exception of the tractor beam super weapon. And frankly, I don't know if that's healthy for the game. Taking your opponent's choices away. It's one thing to give your opponent tough choices, but to remove their ability to choose is kind of rough. I don't know, guys. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and indulging me where I just kind of go on this half-an-hour rant about the Starhawks. I wanted to be excited about them, and I think the thing that's best about this whole expansion is just the other cards that come in the box. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today. I want to thank you all so much for hanging out with me. I want to thank my patrons on Patreon. You guys are amazing, and thank you for your continued support. You definitely help make this channel possible. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a great day.